In this video, we are going to go over switch statements. So create a new class in Lesson 10. Let's name that class Random Card. We know that if we were to assign numbers to the cards ace through king, that would be 1 through 13. So we're going to start by picking a random number. So random R, we're initializing this, and it's going to be a new random. Let's go ahead and import the random class since we're going to be using it. So random R equals a new random, and we're going to do integer card, and that's going to be equal r.nextInteger is going to be what the compiler or what the program chooses to be our random integer. Now we said we wanted integers 1 through 13, so if we typed in a 13, that would be random integers 0 through 12. So now we just have to add 1, and that will give us random integers 1 through 13. So add 1 to that random integer, and then close the statement with a semicolon. But remember, a 1 would be an ace, an 11 would be a jack, a 12 would be a queen, and a 13 would be a king. So this is where we're going to start our switch case. So type in switch, and we want to switch the value for card. So that's our variable that we're switching. Open it with a bracket, and then close it with a bracket. So in the switch is where we're going to write what we want that value to be switched to. And unlike an if statement, there are many different options and different paths that the switch can take. So the first path is case and then 1. So that's saying when this value card is 1 and then a colon, we're going to have card, and we're going to start a new card. So card new to say ace. Now we have to initialize this new variable that we have, card new. Unlike the variable card was an integer, we want card new to be a string. So we're going to initialize this variable as a string. So up before the switch statement, we're going to type string card new, and we're going to initialize it. So it's just going to be null for now. Null is just the default value that we can use for a string that will help us initialize it. After the switch case, if we were to put system.out.print, and we printed out card new. So with our switch, we have case 1. So this is saying that when the card is equal to 1, our card new, so our string variable, is going to become ace. And that is if this card is equal to 1. After that, we're going to say break. What break does is it jumps out of the loop or the statement that we're in. So our next case, we do not need to worry about 2 through 10 quite yet. Our next case that we're worried about is a jack or an 11. Case 11, or when that card is equal to 11, card new is going to say jack. Now, without this break, it would run the switch statement, it would read case 1, and then it'd go on to case 11 after that. Once it reaches case 1, if card is equal to 1, it can jump out or end this switch statement. Otherwise, it would have to go through every single option. That is why you need a break after the case. So break after case 11 as well. Now we're going to do 12 and 13. 12 is going to be for the queen. And 13 is going to be for the king. Now let's test our switch statements. We want to control what the card is equal to test each one. So if the card equals 1, we've already have the variable initialized up here, and we set a random value, but we want the card to be 1 so that we can see if it actually displays ace. And when we run that, ace is displayed. So let's go down and let's try 12 now. So 12 should say queen. And yes, queen is displayed. But what happens if we were to display 4? We do not have a case for 4. 4 would display null because we're displaying this card new value, which is a string. And when card equals 4, there is no value within card new for 4, so it's going to use that null value. This is where we set a default value. So after this break, you'll write default. If there's any number chosen, 1 through 13, that does not have a case, so that would be numbers 2 through 10, the default will be that card new is assigned to, and we want it to display just the number. But card new is a string and not an integer value. So we will just make the number a part of a string. Do quotes, closing and ending, and then add the card value onto that. So this string is set up with this, but then it's adding this integer value on at the end of the string. So this card is actually going to be characters as opposed to an integer. So it's going to be characters within this string now. After the default, we need a break. When we run this for the integer value card being assigned to 4, it's going to jump down to the default and assign the character 4 within the string card new. And now it will display 4. Now we're going to test our random values. 4, 3, 2, 7, ace, 2, queen, and so on. And this is just a simple introduction to the switch statement.